Daily Heavenly Manna, August 4th. The servant of the Lord must not strive, but be gentle unto all men, apt to teach, patient, in meekness, instructing those that oppose themselves. 2 Timothy 2:24-25. Some of the Lord's dear people have greatly injured their influence in the truth by display of too large a degree of self-confidence, self-assurance, in speaking of the divine plan to others, especially to the learned. Meekness is a jewel wherever found, and is especially desirable as an adjunct and sling for the truth. Let the truth be shot forth with all the force it can carry, but always with meekness and humility, and the question form of suggesting truth will often be found the most forceful. Reprint 2559.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're getting into something, well, really fundamental. How the way we share an idea can be just as important, maybe even more important, than the idea itself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially when it's something you feel is true or important.
We're looking at some wisdom from an ancient source, 2 Timothy chapter 2, verses 24 and 25. It says, "The servant of the Lord must not strive, but be gentle unto all men, apt to teach, patient, in meekness, instructing those that oppose themselves."
And what's so interesting is, even though that text has a very specific background,
Right.
the principles about communication, they're completely universal.
Yeah.
It's just about how humans connect or sometimes fail to connect when sharing meaningful things.
Okay, so let's dig into that. The source we're drawing from points out a kind of common mistake. It says some people have greatly injured their influence by a display of too large a degree of self-confidence, self-assurance, especially to the learned. That really hit me, this idea of coming on too strong. I mean, I've seen that. But why do you think that particular kind of confidence, that self-assurance, is so damaging when you're trying to convey something true?
That's such a key question. It taps right into basic human psychology, I think. When someone hits you with overwhelming self-assurance,
Yeah.
it doesn't always feel like an invitation. It can feel like being talked down to, or maybe even attacked in a way.
Okay, I see that.
Our defenses just naturally go up. We think, who are they to be so certain? Or, okay, I get it,
Right. It becomes about the ego, not the idea.
Exactly. The listener shuts down or gets defensive rather than actually thinking about the message itself. Humility, on the other hand, it kind of signals respect, openness.
Yeah.
It disarms people.
So if that strong self-confidence can be a roadblock, what's the alternative the source gives? Because this part is fascinating.
It is.
It says, meekness is a jewel wherever found and is especially desirable as an adjunct and sling for the truth. A sling for the truth.
It's like the image, isn't it?
It really is. And then it says, let the truth be shot forth with all the force it can carry, but always with meekness and humility. But okay, isn't there a danger there? Could meekness just seem, well, weak, like the message loses its punch?
Yeah, but that's the crucial thing. Notice it still says, shot forth with all the force it can carry.
Okay, right.
It's not about being powerless. It's about power combined with gentleness. Meekness here isn't passive or weak. It's more like strength that's under control.
Under control? I like that.
Yeah, it's delivering your conviction, but without all the aggressive ego getting in the way. That disarming quality is key. It lets the actual message sink in rather than the listener just reacting to how you're saying it.
So the humility lets the idea itself have space. And then taking that a step further, the text gives a really practical technique.
It does.
It says, the question form of suggesting truth will often be found the most forceful. Suggesting, not stating, using questions, that feels almost backwards.
It does feel backwards. But think about it. How does shifting from telling someone something to asking them a question change the whole interaction?
Well, it makes them think, I suppose. They have to engage.
Exactly. It invites what psychologists call active processing. You're not just pouring information at them. You're guiding them.
Ah, so they kind of arrive at the idea themselves.
Precisely.
Yeah.
They participate in discovering it. And that internal discovery, that aha moment they reach through your question, is way more persuasive and sticks much better than just being told directly.
Like the Socratic method, kind of.
Very much like that. It turns it into a dialogue, even if it's just an internal one for the listener. They feel some ownership of the conclusion.
Okay, so putting this all together for us, What's the main takeaway? It seems to be that real influence, getting ideas across effectively, doesn't come from, arguing or that forceful self-confidence.
Right. That often just pushes people away.
Instead, it comes from gentle meekness, that strength under control we talked about, and using questions strategically. It's a softer approach.
But much more powerful in the end, potentially.
Yeah, a far more effective way to share something important.
So here's a final thought for you, the listener, to maybe reflect on. Think about an idea or a belief you hold strongly, something you really wish you could convey effectively, maybe to someone who sees it differently right now.
Okay.
How might things change if you consciously tried to embrace that meekness and humility, that strength under control, and use the question form more? How might that transform the way your message is actually heard and received?